In the remote rubber plantations of Sisaket province, near the Cambodian border, the air hangs heavy with mystery. This is a land shaped by silence, shadows, and secrets whispered between the trees. It was here that a man named K, a newcomer from Bangkok, came to start his life anew as a rubber tapper. Surrounded by 15 acres of forest, he faced the unfamiliar challenges of navigating the wilderness at night and mastering the techniques of rubber tapping. His father-in-law, a local with deep roots in the area, had always warned him, "Ghosts aren't the real danger here. It's people you should fear." Kay took the warning to heart. In the first few weeks, his father-in-law often accompanied him at night, both to help and to ensure he didn't stray too far into the perilous darkness. But the older man had a drinking habit and sometimes failed to show up. The routine of rubber tapping was simple but strict. 2 nights of work followed by 1 night of rest. It was crucial to maintain this rhythm, especially when rubber prices were favorable. On one particular night, the 3rd night in the cycle, Kay found himself alone. His father-in-law was away attending a funeral, and though the night was moonless and quiet, Kay didn't want to miss the opportunity, so he headed into the plantation alone. The moment he turned off his motorbike, he felt something was wrong. The air was too still. The plantation, usually alive with flickers of flashlight beams and whispers of other tappers, was dead silent. No distant murmurs, no rustling, no signs of life, just darkness. To ease his nerves, Kay put on his favorite ghost story podcast. The sound of chilling tales filled the void as he began tapping tree after tree, the only light coming from the headlamp strapped to his forehead. He hoped to bump into Uncle Pent, his Cambodian neighbor, who usually stayed in a small hut nearby, watching over his precious rubber collection. Uncle Pent was a local legend in his own right. He was known to alternate between producing rubber sheets and rubber cups, depending on market trends. He was always around, always guarding his stash. But tonight, there was no sign of him. As Kay tapped deeper into the plantation, he noticed the usual vigilance required of all rubber tappers. Eyes scanning the ground for snakes, scanning the trees for the next cut. But as he neared the small hut, his headlamp caught a shadow on the stairs. A familiar shape. Someone was sitting there. It had to be Uncle Pent. Kay called out casually, "Uncle Pent, how many rows have you done tonight?" No reply. The figure didn't move. He continued tapping, assuming the old man hadn't heard him. As he drew closer, just a few trees away, he looked up again. His heart nearly stopped. It was Uncle Pent, sitting shirtless, but his right arm was missing. All that remained was a bare shoulder, clean and smooth, as if surgically removed. A wave of dread swept over Kay. Though not normally afraid of ghosts, the scene before him tore at the edges of his sanity. He mustered what courage he had left and asked again, "Uncle, are you okay?" Slowly, Uncle Pent rose to his feet. He turned. His face was twisted, grotesque, dripping with blood. His missing arm was fully illuminated in the beam of the headlamp. There was no mistaking it. This was not a man. This was something else. Kay didn't wait to find out more. He turned and ran,
Through the narrow rubber rows, heart pounding, dodging stumps and roots. He knew the path by heart. Any misstep could send him tumbling into a ravine. The only thought in his mind was escape. He reached his motorbike, started it in panic, and tore down the dirt path. The engine sputtered, but kept going, lurching through the darkness. He arrived home in shock, breathless, trembling, and immediately called his wife. He told her he'd seen a ghost. He demanded to know why her father hadn't returned.
Morning brought clarity and horror. Uncle Fet had been dead for 3 days. Murdered. Just 3 days earlier, he had sold a large stash of rubber and received a hefty sum. Local drug addicts, aware of this, had come to rob him. During the struggle, he was attacked with a knife. His arm was severed. To hide the crime, the killers set his hut on fire. The police saw through the ruse. The severed arm made it clear. This was no accident. Everyone in the area knew what had happened. They had all gone to his funeral. That night, the night Kay ventured alone into the plantation, was the 3rd night after Uncle Fet's death. The rubber plantation had been deserted not by chance, but by mourning and by fear. Kay had been the only one who didn't know, and so he was the only one who met the ghost. The next morning, he returned to the site. The hut was gone, reduced to ashes. Nothing remained. No steps, no foundation. His memory of the night before clashed with the charred ground before him. It confirmed the terrifying truth. What he saw was not real, not of this world. It was a ghost returning to the place of its violent death. He believes now that it wasn't just coincidence, that his casual greeting, calling out to Uncle Fet, had awakened the spirit, brought it forth. A simple act of friendliness had opened a doorway to terror. 3 years have passed. Kay still works the same plantation. The area where the hut once stood now holds a small shelter for rain, built a few meters away. In the early weeks after the incident, Kay would sometimes hear footsteps or the sound of someone tapping trees, but he grew used to it. Locals say every forest has its guardians. In these plantations, tappers often build spirit houses, offering incense and food for protection. Some say it works. Others say it just makes the forest feel even more haunted. For Kay, the memory lingers, a reminder that in the quiet darkness of the rubber forest, the boundary between life and death is thinner than it seems.